Hi, my name is Emily McCarthy, and today we're talking to a woman who has managed to cram in so much into her career. From directing, producing, acting and TV presenting, we're sitting down and having a chat with none other than Bonnie Lythgoe. Bonnie,
yes.
Thank you so much for joining us. And I'm probably going to have to just put it straight out there that I'm a little bit overwhelmed, a little bit nervous, completely in awe of your career. It's incredible, and I think for everyone back home, we need to actually do just a super quick timeline, because if we don't, if we do a long one, we're going to be here all day.
That's okay. I've got nothing to do.
Let's just start with To Serve with Love with Sidney Poitier.
Yes.
Casted as, how old were you when you were
15.
15?
15, yeah. I was still in university, actually. I was still in college, and it was just James Clavell, he was the director at the time, and he just came around and picked out some of us girls and said, read this script. And I actually went for the lead, but I was a little bit too young.
Yeah.
And the sadness is, I worked with Sidney Poitier. How amazing. His story is quite phenomenal, where he grew up and his lifestyle, his love of life.
Yeah.
And yet, I didn't realise that. He was just an actor teaching us in this film.
Well, you wouldn't.
Yeah.
At that young age, I look back on a lot of things and you think, oh God, I really took that for granted.
Yes.
So it would be the same type of thing. But that really kind of was that what kickstarted your love into performing, I guess, and the arts?
Yes, I think it did, although my mum was very, very keen on me being a dancer and having a lot of acting experience. I always went to dance college and stuff like that. Yeah. But I think underneath it all, To Serve with Love was a turning point, because the minute I went into that, I knew there was no way back.
Really?
Yeah, I just knew it. I just loved being with the people that were involved in it, the actors. I loved being in the studios. I just wanted to be there. We played terrible pranks on people and we had fun. And I think I just loved that kind of lifestyle. I loved it.
And I heard that a prank was played on you with Sean Connery, and because you had a massive crush on Sean Connery at the time.
I did.
I'm guessing everyone on the set knew, because what happened?
Oh my God! How did you do this to me? Okay, so I was totally in love with Sean Connery. We were working at Pinewood Studios, and every morning I used to pass by his dressing room door, which was always open, and he used to lie in the dressing room like this. And I used to pass by and kind of say, morning, and go on. And this particular day I was with Sidney Poitier, and I was doing my lines. And he was such a mentor, in fact. And I said, right, this is what we do. And he said, no, they do it this way. And he was wonderful. So this morning, I was in the classroom. It's my day of filming. And I had my desk lid up. So you couldn't see, I couldn't see who was coming in the room. So Sidney Poitier walks into the room and he says the line to me with my desk lid up. And then I'm supposed to slam the lid down and answer him back. To which I was ready, and they're going to say, take one. And we go, take one. And so there I am, and in walks a voice I didn't recognise. I thought, hang on a minute. Sounds
but you know
Scottish.
That voice. You would know that voice.
I knew the voice, but it's like drinking something that you think is tea, but you're drinking coffee. It's like, what's happening here? So I slam my desk lid down, and there in front of me, like us close like this.
Oh my God.
Was Sean Connery.
Oh my God.
And I couldn't remember another line. It was like, I can't remember. So Sidney and him had got together, and Sidney had said, look, we've got somebody in our classroom, and she loves you. Do you want to swap with me? And they decided to swap, so I had Sean Connery as my teacher. So that was just one of the pranks.
Well, that's a pretty memorable prank.
Do you remember Dudley Moore?
Yes, yeah, of course.
So
yeah.
Dudley Moore's girlfriend was also in the film. Susie Kendall, her name was, and she was 21. And at 21, Dudley Moore decided that he was going to buy her a 21st birthday present. And he came into Pinewood Studios with an E-type yellow Jag that he drove through, and he tooted his horn, and all of us girls, we had all our rollers in our hair. They were called rollers in those days.
Yeah.
Rollers in our hair, makeup. We're all leaning out the window, and he said, send Susie down, this is her present. And he brought her this E-type Jag. We rushed down the stairs, and there were 7 of us that clambered on this brand new E-type Jag that we made him drive all the way through Pinewood Studios.
Really?
That's just another little story. There's lots.
How gorgeous. And I mean, that's primarily one of your first experiences, you know, on
It was.
set.
It was.
And so from there, you know, you've gone into directing roles in London, choreography roles. We've got producer for American Idol, a judge on So You Think You Can Dance. Let's not forget my personal favourite, which I am dying to mention. And I'm gonna admit that I was so excited when I read this. You were a presenter on the Sooty Show.
Oh no! Where did you get that from?
Sooty was one of my absolute favourite shows growing up as a kid. It was warm, it was a little quirky, it was so funny. It was just such an amazing concept, and it still actually it invokes that warmth in me when I think of his little face.
I've still got one of the original puppets, actually. Well, I shouldn't say puppet. Sooty is real.
Yeah.
One of Sooty's, yes. I've literally got one of the original ones, and I was actually about 16, 17. This was actually after To Serve With Love, because I did a 3-year contract with the TV company. And yes, I used to go in every day and do Sooty and Sweep. But there's a funny story to everything I tell you, but this is a funny story because one day I had to be Sweep. And if I could tell you, but the person that was looking after Sweep, without giving the game away, wasn't very well. So Harry Corbett at the time said, could you do it? So I went, I'll try. They sacked me with about 2 seconds. There's no way I can work Sweep or anything else. Sooty, Sweep, any puppet.
It was so hard.
I was useless. I had to look at this monitor and try and get Sweep right. Oh, I was just hopeless. So they kept me as a presenter.
Oh, that's hilarious. So you're better on camera,
I
not with the puppet on your
That was 3 years. It was great fun.
And so, you know, fast forward now to Lythgoe Family Productions, which is a joint venture with your sons, I believe, right?
That's only in America.
In America?
In America, it's Lythgoe Family Productions, which is a joint venture with my son, Christopher. But here in Australia, it's Bonnie Lythgoe Productions, because my darling son had too much to do in Los Angeles, and he couldn't actually do it with me down here, which was a shame, because we've opened up so many doors in Los Angeles, I should say America. We've got 5 going this year. We've got Houston, we've got Chicago, we've got Los Angeles, we've got Laguna, and the 5th one I can't remember offhand, but 5 pantos which we took to America.
In America?
Yes.
I didn't actually even realise that.
Yes.
So there's 2 separate, and for me, I mean, I've got 3 small children. I'm still calling out, get your bloody shoes on every single morning. So to you know, think that you're at that point where you can work with your sons as well on these amazing projects. I mean, that must be quite fulfilling in itself to share this love of the arts.
It is. I mean, I think when we opened in America, it was so great to work with one of my sons, Christopher. It was wonderful. And funnily enough, my other son, Simon, he works with me down here, although it's Bonnie Lythgoe Productions.
Right.
He works with me here, and he's great. He works for a television company, and he edits and puts stuff together. So he comes in and films all the rehearsals and stuff like that for me, edits it all together, and does a promo for me. So he's involved as well. And the other day, I actually had grandchildren as well. And the other day, I needed a runner for, I think we were auditioning for the juveniles. So I got my grandson Kyan, so it's gone down another generation.
Oh, wow.
And I said, you're in. And so he said, well, I don't know what I'm doing. I said, you will, just bring people to me.
Exactly.
And you know what, at the end of the day, it actually warmed my heart to think I've got all of them there involved. It's wonderful. We argue, but at the same time, it's fabulous.
Exactly. That would be stunning to have your family, you know, by your side. And so Cinderella was one of the first productions.
It was one of the first ones. It was actually our 3rd one in Sydney, so let me get it right, in Sydney. But it was the one we saved because we knew it would really, really do very well.
And I mean, it was hugely successful, but I want to take it back to the audition phase, which was, you know, it was buzzing. You know, there were just hundreds of women wanting to be Cinderella.
Yes.
And so did you find that, you know, gave you that little sort of, I guess, little alarm bell, like, wow, this is, you know, people are really excited about bringing pantomime back and creating that new culture back in Australia?
To be honest, I was shocked. I didn't know what was going to happen, and I turned the corner in my car in Sydney, and I saw people and people and people and people. It went beyond the end of the road, round the corner, and these were the Cinderellas. And they all were waiting to register and come in and see me. I saw every single one because I always can't stand missing people. When I was doing American Idol, we had 10,000 people turn up in the beginning of that. And all of us saw every single person, and that's one of my things. I don't care how long I'm there, but I will see every single one. And funnily enough, in Peter Pan this year, we have had hundreds. So it's so lovely for me to find that out, to find that people want to do it, want to be on stage, want to do a musical that's a musical panto, that wants to work with kids and families. In fact, I was watching the Gogglebox last night. And it made me realise that families sit down and watch the Gogglebox. And that's my achievement with Panto, to take families to the theatre. Because it could be the first time a child is ever in the theatre.
Exactly. Even as a mum, I have a love of musical theatre, but since having children, I can't really share that with them because they're so young, and I'm worried that, they're going to make noise and be fidgety. But with a pantomime, and I think that, it's an important subject to go over as well, is what makes a good pantomime? What traditionally is pantomime? If for people who don't know at home.
Yes, let me explain Panto. First of all, you take away the fourth wall. If you don't have an audience, you don't have a panto. It's very important that kids can go there, and as I said to you earlier, it might be the first time they go to the theatre, but kids can go there and scream and shout. So you might get Captain Hook out there, and actually that's Tom McKenney, he's playing it this year, and you can scream and shout, and I want you children to say boo and hiss at Mr. Captain Hook, because it's very important that you do. So what is it it's enabling is for children to be involved. It's taken away everything. It's saying we want audience participation. This is important to us. So it doesn't matter if you take your kids there. They can scream, they can shout, they can run around. And quite often you might get somebody in the cast that says, well, what do you think? I'll tell you quickly a story of, in London, we had a story, we do a show called Dick Whittington. It's a panto, but you may not know of Dick Whittington, but it's something like Jack and the Beanstalk. Yep. And the innocent person is the one that's blamed in this panto. So this little tot of about 5 walked all the way through to the theatre and said, excuse me, you've got the story wrong. And they said, what? No, Dick Whittington didn't steal that money. That was King Rat. And the whole panto was destroyed because this little kid told the story right at the beginning before it got to the end. Oh, no. But I love that. You know, I love that children will think that they're part of it, that they'll get up, they'll say something. And I hope that they watch Peter Pan fly. That was my first panto when I was 3. Right. And I saw panto, and I believed that Peter Pan was flying, and I just loved every minute of it. And if families can go and sit down for a couple of hours and be together and laugh and cry if they want to, but just get involved. So that's the main thing that I want to say. We also, I'm very, very into children, and we also do something else called a relaxed performance. I don't know if you know about that.
Wow, no, but it sounds amazing.
It's very different. It's children, it's families that have children with disabilities, and they can now come to the theatre. We do it in England, and we've only just done one in Sydney. We decided to do it, so we let all the families know and say, if you would like to bring your kids along, and if you have a child with disabilities, that's fine. So they come along to the theatre. We make the show slightly shorter, but we take all the heavy lights out and any bangs and noises. We keep all the lights on in the theatre to half, and if the kid wants to run around in 15 minutes and shout, I saw you, I saw this, or boo, or hiss, they could do that with never having to worry about it. And we tried it in Sydney. We thought we'd get 200 people turn up. We had 700 families turn up. And what was so lovely, it really got to me. It was very, very heartwarming. It was beautiful. One of the mothers came up to me, and I honestly hadn't thought about it before. She said, do you know what you've done? And I said, I've just invited children that want to come to the theatre that probably wouldn't come before. She said, no, you've done more than that. I have 3 children, and one of my child has disabilities, but now I can bring all 3 of them to the theatre.
That's exactly it. You're involving all of them,
Yeah.
and the parents as well, because
Yeah.
the parents can actually bring them somewhere that they feel comfortable, that they
Yes.
don't have to be self-conscious of them
Yeah.
making noises or anything going untoward, I guess you could say. Oh, that is beautiful. And I mean, it would have been really rewarding for the actors as well to be a part of something like that. Even just in your normal pantomime shows, it would be quite rewarding to be creative and have that impromptu heckling happening as well.
Yes.
Do you find that the
Yes.
actors really love that side of it?
Oh, honestly, Tom McKenny can't wait to be booed.
Really?
All he ever says to me.
I bet he can't.
Every time I see him, he says, "Are they going to boo me?" I said, "They're going to boo you." No, he's great. So yes, they do. That's the other thing I think with Panto. The actors want to be involved. The only thing I do have to say to them is, look, this is also a story. There's music and songs written for the show. There are also today's songs as well.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you can't all ad-lib. I mean, there'd be a kid in the audience.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You've got to be careful. So I'd probably say Wendy and her 2 brothers, John and Michael, if somebody shouts out, try not to ad-lib or shout back because you're involved in the play.
Yeah.
But if somebody shouts out at Captain Hook's, "We hate you," shout back and tell them.
Yeah, so you need to have that balance so that you keep the play sort of running on time and running to where it needs to go and regrouping back to the story, I guess.
Yes, you do.
That's
You
fantastic.
do.
I didn't even think of that actually.
Yeah, there's a lot of things involved in it when you're doing a live show like that.
Yeah.
There
And,
is.
I mean, because it's really obvious when I'm around you that you have this kind of almost maternal, beautiful, warming feeling, and but the thing is, how do you combine that with your management roles? I mean, you're a director, you're a producer, you're the casting agent as well for all of these productions. I mean, how do you combine, the gorgeous kindness and the warmth, but then also get what you need to get out of your cast and crew? Because I think that sometimes that's a really hard juggling act.
Certainly when I'm in production, once we've cast, I'll go back over the other thing, I don't mix with them after we've done rehearsals. I don't go out for drinks. I keep myself very separate because I can't go in the next day and scream and shout at them if I have to.
Yeah.
And having got out for a drink with them, I've gone for a cup of tea with them before. So that is my golden rule, that we don't mix pleasure and work together.
Yeah.
But you're so right. I mean, there's such a mess at the moment because I cannot tell you how many talented people we've had for Peter Pan and Tinkerbell. And I'm talking about the juveniles and the Lost Boys, which are actually going to be a crew. They're in their kind of 17, 18, 19-year-olds. We're going to have a crew of Lost Boys and the girl dancers. And at the moment, I have so much talent that I've got them all spread out at home on my table. And I've read every single CV. I've seen them all. And I put them in front of me every morning and go, what is standing out at me? You are standing out, you are standing out, and you are standing out. But what I did do this year, we went everywhere. We took boys we've had auditions from Melbourne, Sydney and Gold Coast, and we've taken all of them, all the Lost Boys, up to the Gold Coast for the final audition. And we had Todd McKenny, me, and one other person, actually 2 other people, where we looked at these people and auditioned them. And sorry, I lost my thread.
Yeah, that's okay.
I lost my thread for a minute because I could hear all these people and I couldn't do it. And they're always coming towards me. Sorry, I'll pick it up. So we did an amazing thing this year. We went to Melbourne, Sydney, and to Gold Coast. We brought all the different Lost Boys there. We did a final audition there with judges, and then I had to pick. But they were all so brilliant. We went down to about 20. They were so brilliant. I ended up crying. Something I never do in front of people. Never.
Yeah.
And I just said, I don't know who I'm going to choose. You're all fantastic. They were so brilliant all day long that I actually couldn't help it. And it's terrible because I was trying not to cry. You know when you can't help it?
Oh, yeah, I totally know what you mean. I did that last week. I met Sarah Wilson.
Did you?
Yeah.
Lovely.
And I just burst into tears. She was talking about anxiety or something, and I literally just went up and I was just all, ready to be all, and I just burst into tears. And it was just one of those overwhelming moments that, and you just, when something hits you and you realise where you're at, and how many I don't know how many challenges you've overcome to get to that point as well, and you've got all these amazing, talented people auditioning for your production that want to be a part of your project. I would totally cry with that.
Well, I know, I couldn't help it. And there was one little boy, and I still don't know. He's so cute and so beautiful. And because we've got to have different age groups, like Wendy should be about 15, 16, John about 12, and the little Michael should be about 9 or 10. Yeah. But this little lad came in and he sang for me. And you should have I've got it, I recorded him because he was so beautiful. And I so want to use him, but I don't know. Sometimes when you use a younger kid, he's probably about 7, whether he'll be able to do the shows, because you always double up, so you've got 2 teams. And he would have to come to Melbourne and Sydney. But this little song, he goes, la 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 la, and he's singing this cute song, and he's getting higher and higher. Oh my God. But he's got the face of an angel, and I so want to use him. But on the other side of the coin, I don't want to stress him out. I want him to have a wonderful experience, and I don't want to put him in a position where he would be missing mum, or the mum would be there, but having to do the auditions. So it's not just the question of picking talent, I have to look at it psychologically as well. I have to think, will this person cope with all the amount of rehearsals? Because we only do 2 weeks rehearsals. So I know.
Really?
2 weeks rehearsals. They learn the songs, they know the script, I block it all, we go into the technical, we do the dress, and in 2 weeks' time that show's on stage.
Amazing.
I know.
That is amazing. And is that your concept, just even that, the strategy of putting that show together? Did you come up with that, like, right, we're going to do this in 2 weeks, this is how we're going to, work it so that it actually comes together? That's incredible.
No, it was not my idea. Not my idea at all. It's a British idea, really. And I kind of made a mistake, but then I couldn't go backwards. I'm very honest. What happened is, in England, several people do pantos. So you get somebody that's done it for the last 5 years, and they do pantos. So they're always aware of what panto's about. And I do use a British guy, Kevin Orkian. He's a British comedian. He will be coming out. So he's kind of like the glue, so he helps everybody. Right. But of course, what I didn't realise was people here had never done panto. So I thought, same rehearsals in Monday, do the script, block it, and I work it all out. And then I got to the 5th day thinking, they're not off the book now. Off the book means they don't know the script. And I found out that they just didn't realise they were supposed to learn it in the first week. No. So I've got them still looking at the script thinking, oh my goodness. And I learned a hard lesson by that. And we got it together and that was fine. But now we give them their scripts early. They'll be getting songs early. But we, do it in a 2-week period because I believe you can. It's quite an amazing rehearsals. You've got the dancers over one side, you've got me in the other, and it's great actually.
Oh, that would be amazing just to see that. Yes. I would love that.
Yes.
So let's talk about Peter Pan.
Okay.
Let's we've sort of already branched out and talked about what's been happening pre-production and the audition phase, and it all just sounds super exciting. But when's it on? When are we actually going to see it?
Well, that's the truth. We're actually coming to Melbourne last, and we open on the 21st of July till the 30th of July. Yeah. And by then we'll have got ourselves established, I hope, and so the show will be running pretty well, except, there's always an except. What I'm doing this year, which I haven't done before, in the show, we're going to bring in odd celebrities. So, for instance, Favola from Brandon Favola. Yeah. So, Brendan might just come along and do one of the shows with me.
So sort of like a cameo before they just come in and, that's fantastic.
It's the first time I've tried this, and I've got a couple lined up for Sydney now. Yep. And I spoke to Favola the other day, so that's looking really, really good. And there's another person that I think would be great here. So that will be really good for the cast as well, because it will keep them on their toes, because they will feel that they're well into their show now. And then suddenly they'll get somebody in Act 2 that will be a pirate that will come on and do. There's 2 really funny kind of bits that we do. They're comedy bits, and it's all about mops. and they chuck mops everywhere, and it's a real sketch. It's really funny. So they'll be involved in that. And there's another thing that we call 12 Days of Christmas. Though we don't change it, it's kind of different way. We change all the words.
Yeah.
So it'll be another fun thing. So whoever the celebrity is for that day, maybe for that afternoon or for that night, they've got to learn that. So I have to find an hour in the day to teach them that. And then they'll perform that. They'll watch the first half, and in the second half we'll dress them up as the pirate, and they come on.
Wow,
yeah.
that's fantastic.
I
Oh my
think so.
God, I cannot wait. This is so exciting. I cannot wait to see it. So
I'm really pleased.
And I cannot
Okay.
wait to bring my children to it. I think that's, it's really clear that is at the forefront of your mind when you're doing these productions. It's about the children, it's about the families, it's about that whole family entertainment, I guess you could say. So
it is really about that. I want families to enjoy it as well, because a lot of the time you'll find parents will go to see a show because of the kids, but they're going to come away laughing, wanting more, because that's what Panto is about. You know, in England, you can't even get a ticket come September because it's at Christmas. It's packed. Every city and town in England have Pantos. So I just want to spread that around here.
Oh, that's fantastic. Well, Bonnie Lythgoe, and I am going to say Bonnie Lythgoe, her last name, because I just actually can't believe I've been sitting here talking to you. You're so beautiful and so inspiring. Thank you so much for this time, and good luck with Peter Pan, and I hope to see you in July.
Oh yes, you definitely will see me in July. You'll be coming with the children, that's a promise.
Thanks so much.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome.